Hey guys, it's me, 𝗤𝗡𝘅𝘆 Rainbow.
And I'm Renata from the 𝗍𝗏𝘅.
And welcome back to episode 11 of the 𝗫𝗏𝘆𝘆 podcast. In today's episode, we've got a news week for you guys. There's been actually a lot, well, not a lot, but there has been some kind of big national selection news. We have artist reveals for Eesti Laul. We have another semi-final for Malta's Eurovision. We have EMA news. It may have been canceled, but there's still nominees and winners. And we also have some Festival da Canção and also the potential of Eurovision, I don't know, being canceled or some bad things or what there is of that. So it's a fun little episode. There's a lot to talk about.
But first, just want to remind you that on YouTube here, you're going to get about 20 minutes of the free video episode, and then it's going to switch to an all audio format because we are a podcast. But if you want to get the full video a day early with no ads, no breaks in the action, our beautiful faces for the entire episode, then you've got to head over to Patreon and subscribe to us. For just $5 a month, you're going to get every episode early ad-free, like I said. You also get some bonus content, which we're going to be making a ton more as the season goes on, and so much is happening. We actually just did a 10th episode celebration bonus content where we did this fun word association game. So if you want to see a little bit more of us and our joint sleigh, head over to Patreon. You can also even just leave us a tip to let us know you're liking the show, and you can even leave a tip here on YouTube. So if you don't want to leave a tip or you don't want to join but you want to support us, hit the like button and leave a comment. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know, especially if you disagree with us, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments and on Patreon.
Yes, and as usual, shout out and thank you to everyone who's been watching here on YouTube, watching on Patreon, and listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Shout out to everyone. Shout outs to everyone.
Love you.
And without further ado, let's get right into the episode.
Yes.
Alrighty, so first exciting little piece of news is the MTV EMAs. Unfortunately, did not happen this year. If you're not aware, it was canceled because I believe there were like some protests and it was just like a concern. I think there were bomb threats. I believe it was supposed to happen.
Really?
Yeah, I believe it was happening in Paris. And there were just some bomb, like it was just a bad time. There was protests going on and
I don't believe that bedbugs didn't factor into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just don't want to say it. I think they're too proud to say it because I don't know if everyone knows this, but they've got like a bedbug infestation in Paris.
Yeah.
And if I was a celebrity, I probably wouldn't want to go take a weekend and get bedbugs in Paris. And I wouldn't want to be a fan who traveled and then have everyone talking about the bedbug infestation that everyone be a super spreader event at the EMAs. Obviously, I'm speculating. I don't know anything. I don't live in France. I don't know how blown out of proportion the whole bedbug story is. It could be not as big of a problem as they say. It could be under control. I don't know. But it's just one of those things where it's like, are you really telling us the whole story? Or are you just worried about security? But I mean, I guess they do some crazy protests in France. So
they do. I mean, I do think the bedbugs was I thought it was just like public transport and that sort of thing. I don't know how much the celebrities are riding that, but I think that they just are.
Oh, the hotel. If it's in the buses, it's in the hotels. It doesn't matter.
I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, is there a lot of fabric seats? Because I don't know, over here they're all plastic, I feel like, but either way, so it did not go on. That was actually why a lot of people, there was like this brief little moment where people were worried about if Junior Eurovision was going to get canceled because of that, because Junior Eurovision is happening in Nice. But I don't think, I honestly, maybe this is a little brash. I don't think people are threatening to bomb a children's music competition.
God, I'd hope not.
I hope not. And so I think that I would hope that they're all good and they're not, that's not a concern.
And Nice is a beach town in the winter. I think this is kind of the only thing that's going to be happening.
Yeah. But even though the EMAs did not actually occur, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. I believe there were some, I don't even know if they ever announced the actual artist that would be performing, but a lot of people were saying that Loreen was potentially going to be performing there. So, you know, if that was going to happen, that's a little bit of a bummer. But they just announced a couple of days ago the winners of all of the categories. And we're not going to go through like all the winners because this is a Eurovision podcast, but we're going to go over the people who won that are Eurovision related. So Måneskin actually walked away with 2 awards. They won Best Rock, which I think is really exciting. I mean, they were the only Eurovision artist to win one of those kind of general categories that like, you know, that sort of thing. And then they have regional categories. So they also won Best Italian Act, which is just exciting. I mean, I can't imagine who else would win that, you know?
I mean, good for them. It would be kind of funny if they didn't win Best Italian Act, but they won Best Rock Act.
Yeah. I mean, who else is doing it like them? Honestly, they are back doing world tours all over again. I feel like they never even ended the first one. And they're already back around.
You know, good for them because they always wanted to be rock stars and they're doing it now. Although I'll be honest, like I mean, like I've listened to their music, I bought their album, but like it's not. I don't know. I'm like also I'm surprised that they are like still like to me they're a little bit flash in the pan, but apparently like they're not a flash in the pan. Like they really did like hook an actual audience.
Yeah, I mean, they truly are like mainstream now. I mean, they are performing on all the little talk shows every single time they have a new single out. I mean, it's just like like everybody knows them. It's kind of insane to think. Like, I don't know. I mean, we expected them to be big, but I kind of expected them to just be a viral moment. And I mean, it's so exciting and so cool to see them like actually seem to have that success that like, I mean, you know, maybe it's been a year or two since, but I mean, that's a lot more longevity than we've seen for like anybody since, I don't know, Celine Dion. Like,
I mean, internationally, yeah. Because I mean, like Bonnie Tyler, right? She was already super famous beforehand. Katrina from Katrina and the Waves, like she was already famous. So like Måneskin and Celine, they weren't like super famous, international.
Like this was kind of their start. Yeah. So
that is really cool, actually. I never like thought about it that way.
Yeah. We need a collab, all of them together. Celine.
And I love that would actually be really funny. She could do it. She could sing anything.
Oh, she would.
She would sing anything. She seems like one of those people that just like sings, like just when they like can't help it.
You know when she did that interview where she was like, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with the baseball bat.
What? No.
It was in the middle of an interview. She's like, I love peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat. It was so.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
She's so us coded. We do that.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I love to see people breaking out because I love Eurovision, and like we've talked about our taste lately. Like I kind of like really like alternative stuff, or I like really like traditional stuff. But to have people be able to break out and just not have Eurovision be like a Eurovision song is this many key changes and, you know, peace and love, and like breaking out of the cliches, and just it feels so good to know that people who break out of the, you know, what a Eurovision song is cliche go on and be the most famous and most successful of any of the songs, like because that's what you need to do, is you need to not just like be in the Eurovision box. So I think that's like such a good trend.
Yeah, and I think that that's how you can actually maintain longevity and like a real long-standing career. I mean, unless your goal is like Eurovision. Like I feel like with Loreen, even though she's gaining a lot of mainstream success, to me she's like a Eurovision artist in a way. Like her art that she creates, like she loves competition, she loves to be in those kinds of settings. Like I would not doubt her to come back for a third time. You know what, I would see that for her. But with Måneskin, you know, they're kind of doing their own thing, you know, and they won and they got that, and that's great. But I feel like they're at that point where they're like, all right, so we were able to gain that traction, that we can do our own thing and not have to just stay within that bubble. So we love to see it. And I think it also just encourages, like you said, other artists to do the same thing, do their own thing. And I mean, I feel like that's always how you get the most success in Eurovision, is just be authentic to yourself. Anytime someone tries to be like a Eurovision song, create a Eurovision song, be a Eurovision artist, you low-key flop. So
Yeah.
you know. So one sneak of these awards was Best Swiss Act being John's Tears.
I was so surprised to see that. I was like, oh, I didn't even know he was like doing much. So good for him.
I mean, great for him. I didn't know I don't know. Does he have music out? Like, I don't remember hearing a single. But hey, I mean,
it might be like Switzerland might have a very different kind of music industry than we have. Mm-hmm. Also, thinking about the kind of music that he does, like it's so like adult contemporary to me. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Swiss people are boring, but the music that they send to Eurovision is kind of boring.
Yeah.
And the John's Tears people are going to just tear me up in the comments. But I mean, to me, it's like maybe it's just not the type of music industry that we really pay attention to, which is funny because one of my favorite Eurovision acts ever is from Switzerland. I mean, like, but DJ Bobo is very different than John's Tears.
Wait, DJ Bobo?
Vampires Are Alive.
Oh,
the single best entry from Switzerland ever. Sorry,
Celine. I always forget that is Switzerland. Oh my gosh.
I know, because it's so not like typical Swiss. Like
it
what
gives
they normally
me like
think.
It would have came from like Romania or like Poland.
Oh my god, ouch.
Because didn't Poland do that one entry that was like, come with me, it's like the party? Was that Poland? Come with me, like the party? Whatever.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe
some people will know what I'm talking about. But the big award that everybody was kind of anticipating, especially Eurovision fans, who was going to win, because there were 3 acts from Eurovision this year nominated, was for Best Nordic Act. So we had Käärijä, Loreen, and Alessandra were all nominated, along with Zara Larsson and one other person that I don't remember.
Swedish House Mafia.
Like, Swedish House Mafia.
Literally Swedish fucking House Mafia. Like, if this was 2013, like, they would have won. Straight up.
I don't know what they're doing in there for 2023, but hey, I don't listen to them. But the big winner was Käärijä.
Oh, it was so nice. It felt so good. It was like vindication from May, because the feeling, I was like a deflating balloon, a slowly deflating balloon throughout the entire thing, doing the math in my head. And like, I'm not good at math, but like the math was mathing on the screen with all the 12s coming in for Loreen, that I was just like, oh no, like it just every single time it became more and more out of reach. And then he wins the televote, and it's like the people love him. And so finally, in a vote where you don't have some jury who is just so set in their ways about what they want, and you have actual fans going out and voting, to have the actual fan favorite finally win. And like, we both love Loreen.
Yeah.
I love Tattoo. It's great. I mean, it's literally nothing against Loreen, but it's just like, this was finally the chance that he had to win something, and I am so happy about it.
Yeah, and I feel like something like this means so much. I mean, it would mean so much to all of them, but especially for Käärijä, and like knowing his story and him just kind of coming from nothing and within this year just completely blowing up. It's just like, it's such an inspirational story to watch, and him finally winning this is just a little cherry on top.
That's so good.
It's just like being able to be recognized for all your hard work and everything that he's accomplished this year. It's just amazing. And I mean, shout out to Loreen and Alessandra as well, because Loreen, first of all, I gotta say, Is It Love? I think I prefer it over Tattoo.
I've got a confession to make.
Opinion.
I haven't listened to it.
It's really good. Maybe it's just like I got tired of Tattoo, but like I'm really vibing to Is It Love. And Alessandra I'm shocked. Have you heard her new ballad that she came out with?
No, so I've got to say, I have been really behind. I've had a lot of like craziness happening with like work and my personal life. So I'm trying to get caught up with a lot of things. So there have been some things that have just sort of like passed me by. And so I didn't even know actually that Alessandra had a ballad. This is literally news to me. I'm finding it out right now.
It's great because, you know, I don't know. She came out with 2 like bad bitch tracks, which were great, but it was kind of in the same sphere as Queen of Kings. And this ballad, it's just like, oh, wow. She's really fixing to be an amazing, like well-rounded, like I knew she had a great voice, but like, you know, when they do a ballad, you can really see, you know, so they're all doing great. They're all releasing music. They're all touring. Well, I don't know if Alessandra's touring. I haven't seen anything, but I'm sure she probably is. She probably is. But I'm just happy for everybody. I'm so happy that I feel like for so long, Eurovision had such a stigma where it was like supposed to be a career death sentence. And it's so amazing to see this whole revival of Eurovision and seeing like all these artists gain so much success from like following competing in Eurovision. It's just amazing to see. And I mean, 2 of these artists, Käärijä and Alessandra, I mean, and Alessandra especially, I mean, she had no music before Eurovision.
Right. That was like her breakout single.
Yeah.
Same with Käärijä, really. I mean, he had an album and stuff, but as far as like being like more widely known, like they're both breakout artists.
Yeah. So it's just, it's so awesome to see, you know, artists come from that contest and just be able to get their, you know, international success.
And how crazy too that 3 of the 5 were from Eurovision. Like, I mean, and it was so stacked. Like that was a bloodbath with the Nordics. I mean, Zara Larsson is like famous. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, she didn't really release any music. That's the thing. I was kind of like, well, I mean, Zara Larsson's had better years. The only reason I'm saying this is because I was fighting with a Zara Larsson stan on Twitter.
Oh, God.
I was like, I'm a Zara Larsson stan, like, from the break of the day to the middle of the night all the time. Like, I'm a Zara Larsson stan. I can sing every single one of her songs. Like, I'm not even kidding. So I'm a Zara Larsson stan. But it was, I mean, she released an album like 2 or 3 years ago. Like, and she released like 2 singles this year. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't a big year for her, so it wasn't. You know, her singles probably have more streams than any of theirs, but you know, it's. I feel like they're new artists. They give them their little moment. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have some exciting national final news. So the big news I feel like of this week was Eesti Laul. So they first revealed a couple of days ago the pre-qualifiers. There are 15, or sorry, a couple of days ago, they announced the semi-finalists. These are people who will be competing in the first and only semi-final to then compete in the final. So there are 15 songs/artists that were selected to be semi-finalists. And then today, as of us filming, this is Tuesday, they announced the automatic qualifiers. And there are 5 automatic qualifiers. So when they made this announcement, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm scratching my head looking at this list of artists. So first and foremost, they released the semi-finalists first. So I was looking at this lineup and seeing, okay, we have 𝗍𝗆, who came 2nd place last year, front runner, like almost won. We have Laura, who has, I mean, she is competed in multiple countries' national finals a million times. She's been to Eurovision twice. And we even have big bands like 𝗍𝗆 and the 2 Dragons. I don't think it's 𝗍𝗆. I think it's pronounced another way. But regardless, they have millions of streams on Spotify. And there's a lot of people in this semi-finalist list that have competed in Eesti Laul, a couple of them, a couple of times, multiple times. And so I was thinking, oh, wow, like I can't wait to see these automatic qualifiers. They gotta be huge names or something. Like, you know, if we got the 2nd place person from last year in those automatic, like, you know. And then they dropped the automatic qualifiers. And I'm sitting here looking at this list like, hold on, wait a second. Who are any of these people? The only name I recognized was Daniel Levy or Levy. He's the only one I recognize. And I had to look up what his song was, but I knew I recognized the name. Otherwise, girl, I'm looking at these people like, who are these people? And so then, what was your reaction when you saw, this lineup of people?
Well, the Daniel Levy or Levi, so I know some people are Victor Crone haters.
I'm a lover.
I'm not a lover or a hater. I think he's fine. I don't think he's really done anything to like deserve the bad reputation, but I also am not like running towards Victor Crone's music. So I mean, I think it'll be mid. I didn't like the All I Need song.
You didn't?
No, it just didn't. Yeah, and I listened to it before we filmed, and it was just kind of like, okay, like it's a song. Like again, it's just like I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
It's nostalgic for me. Like I was like 16, 17, like just the thought of you. Ooh. I don't know. It's Eesti Laul that year. It was the first national selection I ever watched from Eurovision. Was Eesti Laul 2017. So that was just nostalgic for me.
I feel you. I've got some songs like that, that Busy Doing Nothing song by Ace Wilder.
Yeah.
I love that song for nostalgia reasons.
Yes.
But the other auto qualifiers, I don't think that it'll surprise you that I was not a fan of Whiskey Won't Forget.
No, and that one was very confusing because when we saw that, so Whiskey Won't Forget Whiskey Won't Forget was from last year. It came 8th place in its semi. It did not even qualify. It was like 8 out of 10. So it was almost last. And so then to see him in the automatic qualifiers, whereas the person who came 2nd place almost won last year isn't an auto qualifier.
I mean, I saw someone say on Twitter, like, well, I mean, maybe they really did just choose the best songs. Yeah. Maybe, some people have good songs one year, not great songs the next. So maybe they are just great songs. But I also saw someone else say that if it's such a great song, why do they need to do auto qualifier? Like, wouldn't the people choose it?
Yeah, that's how I personally feel, because I feel like automatic qualifiers, I feel like the only, first of all, I don't like auto qualifiers. I would rather just everybody compete fairly. I feel like it's a little unfair to have automatic qualifiers, but I feel like the only time it would maybe make sense is if they're a big name artist and it builds up hype. And it's also it's good to have big name artists to increase viewers, and also just, I don't know, a little more respect to the contest. Maybe if you have like a big name, that is whatever. You don't want all the people that are kind of big names going out in the semis, and then ain't nobody watching the final because all the big names went out. So I feel like that's makes sense to me, even though in a way that's also unfair. I mean, but
yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid invitational, or it's sort of like, or one of the more like highly curated contests like UMK.
Yeah, but like with this, I'm just like, I don't know, just let them all compete. It's just kind of weird to me that. Yeah, and then the other one was that Brother Apollo.
Oh, we have to talk about Brother Apollo.
Yeah, so
I'm getting my phone because whatever that stuff was on Reddit.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm sitting here I went and I researched and Googled every single one of these artists. Some of them, nothing came up. And I kind of expect that from the semifinalists, some of them. But tell me why, like, almost all the automatic qualifiers, like, nothing came up. And these guys especially, girl, I wasn't finding nothing on them. I couldn't even find them on Spotify. Like, I don't know if they even have any music out, which is fine. But it's just like, how are you an automatic qualifier? I'm really struggling to gather that. But then there was this stuff that you saw on Twitter.
I couldn't believe this. So I saw it on Twitter, but it's actually from Reddit. And it's from 227 days ago. So that's a year ago.
Oh my God.
Right? Because 365 days is a year ago. So the headline or the title of the post is, going to finish UMK next year and aiming for the Eurovision with my band. I'm sorry, what a weird sentence it is. Going to finish UMK next year and aiming for the Eurovision with my band. What are the things you value in an entry that makes you vote for it? That's the title.
Well, yeah, because that makes it sound like they're going to UMK. They're not just trying out, they're going.
Yeah, because at this time last year, they like right now, they literally just started filming music videos.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe like they had alternates or something happened and they had to drop out. Like, oh my God, wouldn't that be crazy actually if they were supposed to go and then they had to drop out for some reason and then there was an alternate and we don't know about it? I'm speculating.
That would be crazy.
But that would be crazy.
I don't really see it for these random men, but.
Okay, so this is the body of the message. So it says, hey guys, it's Joe from Brother Apollo. I have been part of this sub a long time and also a big fan of ESC. I have gathered an awesome band and our demos have been referred to Disco Ensemble and Linkin Park with a hint of Foo Fighters. And we are now trying to figure the best song to hop into the contest next fall. Oh, wait. No, that means that this was like oh my God. Okay, so I think a year ago they were saying we want to try to write a song for next year's UMK.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what they meant to say is going to try to finish UMK next year. And so they made a song to enter for this year and it didn't get picked up for UMK. So they sent it to Eesti Laul. That's what I think this is. So he says, would just like to know as a voter, what are the things that make you send your televote in an entry? I have great trust you see us next year on stage. So they were right. He trusted right because he did
just
make
not
it
in Finland.
Laul, just not in Finland.
I mean, there's based on their description, it doesn't sound like I'm gonna love their song because I don't really know if those are really kind of my vibes. Maybe the disco vibe, but all the other references, not really.
They had one song that I listened to from like 5 years ago.
So they have music. I could not find anything.
Well, I don't know if it was them. I think it was them because it kind of matched like the description of like the other bands. Like it was a little bit, kind of like hard to pin down. And I'm really sorry if like you hear my dog making noises. For some reason, she's going absolutely crazy right now. Like I don't know if, and that's why I keep like turning around and moving the thing. Okay, that's good. So I'm just like mildly distracted because I keep being like, Cookie is bothering me, and then and my headphones block a lot out, but I can hear her ripping around, running circles on the bed and like digging up the blanket. I'm just like, oh my God, dog. I can also kind of feel the vibration too because my chair's up again. Anyway, so there was one song that I did find by them, and it was like actually okay. Like I listened to the whole thing. Like I didn't like get bored of it. Let me see if I'll pull it up in my video history. It was called Rescue Me, and it was all right.
5 subscribers. Oh, slay.
Yeah, like not a whole lot going on there.
Okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like,
wait.
If this is indeed the band.
And that's from 7 years ago. I mean, I can't imagine. And like it has 500 views on YouTube. Like, hey, I mean, can't imagine what they're at now, in terms of their art and what they're doing. So that was kind of good, actually. Maybe I'll be a fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely too early to write anyone off.
Yeah. Because that was my thing is when I looked at the list, I'm not going to lie, like I am disappointed because I did want to go to Eesti Laul, and I'm not saying I'm not going to. I mean, I really want to go to Estonia. And if I happen to be in Estonia when Eesti Laul's going on, who cares? Why would I not go, But I was just disappointed because I was like, I actually feel like Estonia is one of those countries where I actually have a lot of artists that I interact with and that I'm like friendly with from Estonia. And I'm like, damn, like none of them are in this year. I swear every year there's at least someone. I'm like, I don't get 𝗤𝗎, I don't get Andreas Poom. I don't know. But I'm excited about Inga because her song 𝗍𝗆𝗆, like, I mean, honestly, one of the all-time greats of Eesti Laul. And I liked her song Right Time as well. So I'm excited about her. Hopefully we get another bop.
Yeah, Inga's good. I am also interested to see the song from 𝗬🐐, the kind of like really cultural sounding song. I think she's going to be interesting. But the one that I'm most excited about actually is this. I think if the numbers are the same in Estonian, it would be probably like 5 minust, 5 minust, and pulup, with this really long title. We don't really know anything about those drugs, is the English translation. So, like, I mean, when I see that long ass title, I think of like Winnie Pooh's song that also had a crazy long title and was just like an absolutely amazing, like totally robbed entry, like very out of the box and creative. They had a song that I listened to actually with Elena Bourne. It's called Calab, and it's nice. And I was like, okay, do you know what? Like, this is the one that I think, based on like all of the information that we have and like the other artists that we're familiar with, I'm most excited for this one to like hear it. I think it'll be good. And then I guess Laura, like, she is a disaster, and I can't wait.
Similar to how we talked about Marcus Riva maybe a few episodes ago, she's really an enigma to me because she has competed to represent Estonia in 2007, 2009, 2016, 2020. She did represent Estonia in 2005 and 2017. She also competed to represent Finland in 2021. And somehow her songs get worse and worse every time. So, Laura, what's up with that? The other
thing
she
keeps getting selected, so.
Well, she's like Marcus Riva. She is grandfathered in at this point. If she wants to compete, she knows she has an open spot. But the other thing that confused me is, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name wrong or whatever, but 𝗍𝗏𝘅 and the Two Dragons. I'm excited about them just because they do actually seem to be like pretty successful. I mean, they have like multiple songs with millions of streams on Spotify. And their sound's not really my kind of thing. It's like indie rock, not really my vibe. But what I'm a little confused about is why he's listed here twice. So he is also listed with, what is this, Multicast and 𝗍𝗏𝘅 Sundja, which is the lead singer of 𝗍𝗏𝘅 and the Two Dragons.
Wait, what?
So, and I fact checked. I made sure there was no typo or I wasn't confused. Their Wikipedia is linked to the same person. So I'm curious. I'm like, are we having like that, like Lithuania's national selection where they had that girl that entered 2 songs?
Right.
Like,
we
are we getting that again?
About this like last week, I think.
But what's also like weird is at least she was a solo artist and she entered 2 solo songs. This is interesting to me because it's one with his band and then one with him as a solo singer with another artist. So I'm interested to see what that's all about. That has me very curious. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. And then also 𝗁𝗆. I am excited. Again, it's not my genre though. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of rock going on. A lot of the people who seem to be like potential winners right out the gate. I mean, we don't know anybody's song, so who knows?
Yeah.
There's so much rock. I mean, not that there's not pop girlies in here, but like, it's a lot of rock. But.
Yeah, I didn't love 𝗁𝗆's song, so I wasn't super thrilled to see him on the list, unfortunately.
Yeah. But maybe he'll be bringing something different,
Yeah.
Like, I think he's a phenomenal singer. And he's just insanely talented. So, I mean, if I can just get a song that doesn't sound like recycled older music, then, I mean,
yeah.
Also, another big artist, I guess, competing is Traffic. So they never went to Eurovision, but they have competed in Eesti Laul in 2000. Well, it wasn't Eesti Laul at first, but they've competed to represent Estonia 2008, 2009, 2012, 2014, 2020, 22.
They've been around.
Yeah, and they have some good songs. I don't remember I think it was 2020. I really liked that song. It was very upbeat, kind of twangy, and 𝗥𝗍𝘅𝘆 is one of the co-writers, so it's that kind of vibe, and it was fun. So
I like 𝗥𝗍𝘅𝘆, so I'm
yes,
excited to see what this is, and I think that he's maybe a better songwriter than he is a singer. So I feel good about this one. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and so all 20 of the songs will be released in December, which I'm happy about. It sounds like they're all going to come out at the same time, so at least that was what I was worried about with pre-qualifiers. I was like, oh, are they going to come out after or what? Like, it could actually be a disadvantage to them if they were to come out later or whatever. But it sounds like they're all going to be coming out in December, which is very exciting. I'm excited still.
Yeah, I'm excited. One thing that bothers me a little bit, and it's funny because I'm not normally like this. Like, generally, it's like if people want to send songs in English or their national language, like, I'm fine with whatever. But it just felt like there were very few Estonian language songs in this selection. And I've just got to say I'm a little bit bummed about like that. Like, there's a few that seem like they probably are in Estonian, because I love Estonian. It's an amazing language. It sounds so good in music. And it was just like, oh, okay, there's a lot of English titles in here. And I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at it. I mean, there's maybe some, who knows? Maybe they have an English title and they will be partially in Estonian, or they will be fully in Estonian and they just have an English title. But it does seem like not that much. And it is weird because we know that they have incentives to send Estonian language songs. Like, it's cheaper to submit. And we know that they're like trying to get more Estonian songs to be in the selection. So it is a little bit weird that looking at this, it doesn't seem to be too many, but
yeah.
Well, hopefully there's some sneaks in there. Hopefully that some of them will be surprisingly in Estonian that we don't expect.
Yeah, because that does happen. Like, Portion Boys just put out a song called Poco Loco, which is in Spanish, but the whole song is in Finnish, other than the times where they say Poco Loco and a few other Spanish words.
Yeah, and there's like one called FOMO. Like, that could be anything.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I'm excited for Eesti Laul. I am still hoping, I still don't have a job, but I got a second interview tomorrow, so like, y'all wish me luck. I mean, by the time this is released, I'll probably know if I have it or not. But like, wish me luck, you guys, because I'm really trying to make this happen. It's kind of my main thing, honestly. Like, 𝗏𝗏𝗆 is like first priority, but like, if I'm all the way over there, I want to try to throw in another thing while I'm there, and so that's like my first priority. So that's like what's probably going to happen. But hey, I'm thinking, hey, maybe none of my fave artists are going to be competing. I want to meet the gray-haired backing singer. Anybody? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, who are you talking about?
She's that older woman. She must work for the network or whatever, and she's like a provided. This is the theory I've created in my mind, that she's like a provided background singer, because she will like be a background singer for like 5 songs competing.
I see what you mean.
And she's like this older woman with gray hair, and she's just such a vibe, and I love her. And I've actually talked to her on Instagram about how I'm like, I want to meet you so bad.
That's so funny.
The random background singer in Eesti Laul, but I love her. She's been there for so long. So I really want to meet her. But also, I'm like, who says I can't just schedule interviews with Andreas Boom with 𝗙𝗍? Let me reach out to 𝗏𝗏𝘆, because she's not doing it anyways. So I've been thinking about it. I need to know I'm going first before I do that. But I mean, who says I can't do those interviews with those people? So I'm not going to let those things stop me. So
I think that's a great idea. And the ferry over from Helsinki to Tallinn, it's like fast. Like, you don't even have to get on an airplane or worry about any of that. Like, you can just hop the ferry.
And it's cheap in Estonia. Like, there is really truly no reason for me not to go. And Estonia is like on my bucket list of countries I want to visit. So
honestly,
I want to make it happen.
Honestly, at this point, I'm now thinking like, okay, I'm gonna fly back on like a Wednesday anyway. Like, is it worth it to go do Thursday and Friday? Like, why not just also like, why don't I just do that with you? Oh, you guys, I love that the audience gets to like watch us go into debt.
I know, I'm already in debt. It's already downhill, so I might as well just throw a couple more racks onto there.
Everyone's just watching us plan our credit card debt that we're going to pay off. We are so irresponsible. That's not true. I mean,
I am.
We plan well. Yeah, it's planning though. You know, it's planning.
Exactly. I mean, you know, they say you should spend your money. Like, travel is one of those things. It's like I don't know what else I would do with my money, honestly. Like, literally, what I don't know what else I would do with it. I have a lot of expensive hobbies, I suppose, but
isn't that the worst? But hobbies are expensive. That's the thing. I don't know anyone with a cheap hobby except for maybe running, but I don't even think that's cheap, because when you're a runner, it's like the shoes and the fees for the races and the blah, 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 and the, you know, whatever, the special watches and the whatever. Screw running. I don't want to talk about sports.
Running. I'm like, girl, I ain't doing all that, but I mean,
I'll run to the bus, but that's about it.
Well, speaking of sports, I just want to divert a little bit from our script, and I want to ask you, how's your ice skating training going?
Oh my God, I don't know if that was been mentioned yet on the pod. So for people who don't know, I decided to start ice skating. So I had my first lesson on Thursday. Actually, I've had like a crazy like ice rink filled weekend. So on Thursday, I had my first ice skating lesson, and it went really well. Like, at the very beginning, I was like, oh God, this is terrifying. Like, I'm not going to be able, I'm quitting. I was like, in the first time, I was like, I'm quitting. But then, like, as it went on, I was like, oh, you actually kind of like, you get the feel for it really quickly, or at least I got the feel for it really quickly. And I didn't have to go into work on Monday. And that was yesterday. And so they had like free skate time. And because I'm in lessons every week, I get to go to free skate for free with the ice skate rentals and everything. That's like part of your fees. And I only live a mile from the rink. So I went and I was skating on my own, and there was like people there, and they were like helping me out with stuff and teaching me new skills. And then I was practicing other skills. Like, there's this one where you kind of like sit and like put your hands out and you kind of like go into like a squat, and I like that one a lot. It's like really fun. It feels like when you're skiing and you're going downhill really fast, it's that kind of a body position. So I kept doing that one because it was really comfortable for me. So I kept doing it because I'm that type of person where I do the things that I'm good at over and over again, and I don't like to do the things that I'm not good at, but you have to practice to make perfect, whatever. And I even taught somebody how to do that, because one of the older folks was like, hey, can you show her how to do that, because you're doing it right and she's struggling with it. So I got to help another new skater. I don't know, it felt so good. And then so I'd been skating for about 45 minutes. I had already made one video, but I had made it filmed like the whole way, like regular. After the fact, I realized like, oh, like I should have done it on time lapse, because then instead of having like a 3-minute long video, all of that would be condensed into like 40 seconds. So I was really feeling good. Like, I had been good. I hadn't fallen at all. I was like, okay, I'm going to do one more video and do a couple more of my skills that I've literally been practicing for the last hour and getting so good at. And then I'm filming it. I go up the ice and I start coming back, and I just flat out legs come out from under me. It was truly like I wasn't even trying anything in that moment. Like, I just like lost my edge and just I fall forward. I hit my hand, and my shoulder goes like this, and I hit my knee and my other knee. And amazingly no bruise. But I'll tell you what, that ice is hard, man. It is hard. It hurt so bad. But so I got off the ice at that point. I was like, oh, okay, no, I'm not.
I'm done.
I'm done. I had enough. So it's going really well. I really like it. I can't wait till I do more of it. And I think I'm going to get my own skates so that I can just, because I don't like to, the rentals aren't super comfortable. And I just feel like you'll become a better skater if you're wearing the same exact pair of skates every single time. So, and I went to a hockey game this weekend. That was super fun.
How did that go?
So I went to the hockey game with the Finlandia Foundation. We had like a little group thing because I love Finland, so I've been getting involved with this Finlandia thing, which is like Finnish Americans. And it was the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Washington Capitals because I live in the Washington D.C. area, and the arena was awesome. Ooh. Like amazing view. And I kept thinking about like Nokia Arena, like UMK, and like what our seat would be like, because I know where our seat is in the arena. And I was like, okay, like it's gonna be amazing. Like it seemed like the same kind of setup, so it's gonna be so good. Yeah, it was awesome. I was like so happy to like be at a hockey game. I love hockey.
Yeah, I've never been to a hockey game. It's really actually a shame because I was able to get free tickets through my old job because we're sponsored by the Penguins, but rest in peace to that. You know, fuck them anyways. They didn't invite. They hired outside drag queens for their Pride event to promote the place I worked at.
Rude.
And I was very offended by that. I was like, why would you pay these drag queens when you have a drag queen like me? It wasn't to perform, because I would understand if it was to perform, because I don't perform. It was just to take pictures. You know damn well, in this damn city, you know I'm the prettiest bitch in this fucking place. So
they could have saved money by using you.
I said, pay me my $15 an hour, you $30, and then that's it probably.
Rude.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Did you meet anybody crazy notable at the hockey game?
Oh my God, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. So I see where this is all going now. You're bringing it all back to Eurovision. You're so clever. You're like a talk show host, bringing it all back. So I'm with this Finlandia Foundation. I'm sitting, and of course, like I'm sitting next to a Finnish American person, and she asked me like about my Finnish heritage, and I'm like, oh well, I'm not actually Finnish at all, and she's like, well, what are you doing here? And I explained like, oh well, I'm really into Eurovision, and I said like, and I I'm going because I really like the guy that they sent last year, and she goes, oh, the 𝗏𝗏𝗄 guy. And I actually made her repeat herself. I'm like, what? And she's like, 𝗏𝗏𝗄. His last name is 𝗏𝗏𝗄. And I was like, and then it clicked, and I was like, oh yeah, like his name is 𝗤𝗏𝗄. I think I'm saying that right. And she goes, oh yeah. That I said, she says, yeah, the guy they sent this year. Yeah, I'm related to him actually. My mom is 𝗏𝗏𝗄, and they had a family reunion this year. And they invited him, but I guess he was touring, and he like sent like a video or something because he couldn't be at the family reunion. Like how random is that I go to this hockey game, and like we were randomly assigned tickets, and the person sitting next to me in Washington D.C. is literally a relative of Käärijä.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really wild. Like that's 1 in a million sort of thing.
I know. Literally, I feel like there's only like 5 million people in Finland. So it's not really a surprise, I guess, when you find out that like people are related to each other. Like,
I suppose so.
You know, like you're going to have extended families in those kind of situations. But it is still just like, it's crazy because we are on the other side of the ocean.
Oh, because like, what are they doing over there? But
a lot of Finnish people came to the United States at like a certain period of time. Like I think the 1880s, like a ton of them moved here. So it's kind of like it's not like Finnish people are flooding to the United States these days. I mean, why would they?
Why would you?
If I was Finnish, I would not be trying to live here.
I'd be pissed if I came here and I'm like, girl.
Oh, well, you would be happy if your family came here because they have really easy like re-immigration laws because they're like trying to get their people back.
Can Ireland listen up?
You might want to try. Sometimes they let you. Sometimes they let you.
I'm 1 generation behind.
Oh, that's too bad. My family, I can't get Polish citizenship because they left 2 years before the new constitution. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, it's criminal. It's criminal. Well, I support you getting ice skates. It just made me think. Sorry, I'm just because see now you don't want to do what I did, which was think that you're gonna get into something, and be like, okay, so I'm going to buy my own skates because I'm going to get really good at roller skating. So I'm going to buy these expensive,
Oh my God.
$200 roller skates that are like black glitter.
They're so cool though.
And these, I mean, they're Impala skates, like they're expensive. And
I mean, do you want to sell them? Make offers in the comments.
Well, I want to learn.
Oh, you still want to learn. When did you buy those?
In 2020.
Oh my God. Well, you have all the time in the world now, girl.
But I don't have any friends. I don't have anybody to teach me. So I just am struggling. Who's going to teach me? My 63-year-old mother? I'll knock her down. So, you know, it's good you're learning, and then you'll get them once, you know. Because knowing my ass, if I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn how to ice skate, I would be buying cute pink ice skates before I even step foot on that rink, knowing me.
Oh, like after I saw the prices of lessons, I was like, no, I'm buying the lessons first before I buy after I saw the price of the skates, because they're not cheap. They're like $200, like at least, because it's one of those things you can't buy the cheap ones because they're no good, and it's like you spend $100 more than the cheap ones, and you're getting something that's actually good.
Yeah. Well, that's so fun. Hopefully we ice skate in Finland, you know, and I'll look like the fool, I guess.
I'll teach you.
Yeah. So next up in national selection news, back on track. Next up in national selection news, this is kind of like a little bit of news because it's not artists yet, but they revealed the 20 songwriters for Festival da Canção 2024. So I don't really know much about songwriters personally. So like going through these names, I don't really like, none of these names are familiar to me.
Yeah.
But what I will say, this is what stood out to me and that I kind of wanted to talk about, was the fact that, so Portugal received 809 submissions. That's an insane amount. And you look at, okay, there's 20 people. You think, oh, 20 people selected from this 809. Already in and of itself, that seems like a hard thing to do. Well, actually, only 6 people were selected from the 809 submissions. They pre-selected 14 songwriters ahead of time. And then the submissions, they only pulled 6.
Wow. So that really was like the cream of the crop for the submissions. So the other 14 were invited? Is that right?
Yeah. So I don't know if the songs aren't even like ready yet, and that's why they revealed the songwriters before the songs or the artists, you know what I mean? I don't really know how I don't know if they submitted the songs or whatever, and they're just kind of teasing us with this information here, the songwriters, but they already know everything, because I don't really know what the submissions, like, are songwriters submitting songs and then singers are getting selected to them? Are those already pre-thought out? Like, I don't really know. We should get Bernardo from 𝗍𝗍𝗆 over here. He could answer all of our questions. But I thought that was very strange, because countries would be begging to be getting 800 submissions, and then to only pull 6, I'm like, oh my God, those better be great. But it's also, the numbers are weird. Why is it 14 pre-selected and 6? Those are such random numbers. Why not 10 and 10? You know, or at least I would favor the people doing submissions, but that's just me. But Festival, they always got some great options. They always have some just really cool stuff. So, I mean, I have no doubt that this is going to be another year of that. But
yeah, I don't recognize any of the names, but it's not one of the contests that I like super follow really closely. But yeah, it is kind of interesting. It's one of those things. That's what I like about national final season. So sometimes, because a lot of it is just like, if you don't speak the language or you're not keyed in, it's like inexplicable.
Yeah, like
are set up the way they are.
Yeah, because there's very little information. Like, I mean, some national selections are better at kind of revealing all the back end kind of stuff that goes into selecting their entrants or whatever. But some places, they just be like, here it is. So, and maybe they do a little press conference for the announcement, but yeah, if you don't speak the language and it's not a big selection that gets a lot of international press, which Portugal's is not, which is a shame. But I really don't see a lot of people covering their national selection ever. So it's kind of hard to know what's going on.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see the artists, and hopefully I'm excited to see what they bring, of course. And then from us really not knowing much to actual songs that we have to speak about, we've got Malta. We had the second semi-final of MESC. And again, I mean, we touched on it in the last episode in regards to production. I didn't watch this full episode. I watched really only the part with I tuned in right when the performances started, and then I tuned out once they were done. So I didn't watch the rest of it. But production was pretty much the same as the first one. I feel like, again, if you didn't watch that episode, definitely I feel like it's a step up from the first one, and I would be tuning in. And this semifinal especially, there were actually some bangers for me.
Yeah. So I didn't watch the whole thing because I've barely had time to sleep. Literally, there've been nights where I've gotten like 3 hours of sleep. So thank you to 𝗫𝗆𝘆𝗆 YouTube channel for putting together like a little compilation video where they give you like 20-30 seconds of each song, so I was able to kind of get caught up. And so, that's sort of one of those things too, like you really only need to hear 30 seconds of a song to like get your initial impression of whether you like it or not. So I'm not going off of the whole show, I'm just going off of like the clips that I saw.
And me personally, I'm very anti that.
Oh,
if
really?
anybody watches my channel, they know there was like a couple of years ago, I got so mad because I was just like, oh my God, all these reaction channels are reacting to these damn snippets. And I'm sitting here because everybody who watches this channel knows if I react to a national selection, I react to the full length song. I feel like it's not, I mean, we're just giving our thoughts.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't do a reaction for a recap clip, but it was enough to let me know, like, if I think that's something I want to see advance or not.
Yeah, that is fair. And I do that for national selections that maybe I didn't follow and I don't have the time to, whatever. But I just be getting so pissed off because I'm like, how are you giving your opinion on something you don't even know? Like, some of these songs are a journey from start to finish, and you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know the buildup that led to that point or whatever. So, I in my personal opinion, as a reaction channel, if I were to ever do that, I would listen to the songs ahead of time. And then I would just give my thoughts. But I would listen to them in full on my own time. That's what I would do. But anyways, needless to say. So there were actually some great songs in this. There were also some bad songs, I'll say, but
you'll always have that.
Yeah, exactly. But I gotta say, so first and foremost, the song that really stood out to me first was this song by 𝗫𝗏𝗍, which, first of all, that's such a slay name. I'm sorry. That is such a slay name. And their song Empire Girl. This was pop opera. Y'all know I love pop opera. That's like one of the genres just anytime I'm like, like, love it. I did feel like there was a sound problem. I felt like they were kind of like going in and out and like they sounded kind of weird. And it is always, my thing is with opera singers is, when you're listening and you're like, that's good. Like, that's hard to do, but it's just something about it sounds off, and I'm like, well, you're an opera singer. So like, low-key, I feel like you know what you're doing. So I blame the sound technicians.
Yes.
But that was the first one where I honestly heard it and I was thinking, when I heard that, I said, oh, this gotta win. This gotta win, because I was just like, this one felt like the best potential for me to be like something really big. I imagine if they were in different styling, like all white dresses, and it could be something really grand. I feel like you can do some crazy stuff with opera. But when I saw this, I said, oh, this needs to win. My opinions changed later on, but that's how I felt when I first saw it.
You're gonna hate me, but when I was watching that recap, I was like, thank God I only have to be subjected to 20 seconds of this, because I don't want to hear this again.
Why?
It was just, I don't know. Maybe part of it was the sound issues, where I don't know. It just did, but maybe
they picked a bad part.
Maybe they picked a bad part, but also, I mean, Like I did like the 𝗤𝗏𝗅𝗐𝗏 song from Australia, which was kind of like the pop thing, but also that was more of like but I think that was everything. Like that's not a song that I listen to, but it's a song I like to watch with everything else like Broadway like. So I also do not like like I don't want to say I don't like opera, but I don't like anything that feels like Broadway stuff really. Like I don't know, like so it's just really not my vibe. It's just really not my vibe.
I get that 100%. I mean, opera is one of those things. You either love it or you hate it. And anytime somebody says that they don't like opera, I'm like, I get it, because
I like
it's an acquired taste.
traditional opera.
Yeah, but not pop. Yeah, because I get it, because pop opera it can lean Broadway-y.
Yeah.
I like a little pop opera, but so I liked it. I don't like Broadway stuff. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this personally. But I do get, like, people were clowning me on Twitter. I said, I'm sorry, like, I thought it was good. But you know, my love for that quickly changed. Well, I still enjoyed it, but it quickly changed from me thinking this needed to win when Miss Denise popped up on that screen with her song Mara. Bitch, first of all, the opening line, she's talking about Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and I was like, oh, inspired already. I got to do a Joan of Arc look.
Oh my
I got to do a Joan of Arc look. Like, already I got armor, I got chainmail, I got it already. Like, I could just do it right now. And then it just, as it went on, bop, she was giving choreo to her attitude. Like, she was just selling this song to me. To me, like, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't need to hear anything else. But Loki, I feel like I don't need to hear anything else. This was so good. Like, I can already see this, if this went to Eurovision, this being in my top 10, like, almost for sure. I feel like it's so good. I've really listened to it over and over and over again. It gets stuck in my head. Mara, Mara, Mara. Ah! She was chewing. Obsessed. I'm obsessed.
I agree with you on this one. I thought this was good. I was like, okay, this is like very modern. She's got like the whole attitude down to match the song. This is one that I'm gonna like actually check out to see the whole version, because I was feeling this. I totally agree.
Yeah, and then also I bolded the ones that I really like were my top 3, and this Maria Cristina song, Moving On. I don't remember at all how this went. It's been a few days, but I just remember I thought it was fun. Like, I thought it was one of those songs where I was thinking, well, I don't think this really needs to go through or whatever, but I will see myself listening to this a lot because it's just kind of like, you know, a little bop.
This one, at least the part of it that I saw, had just like no flavor to me.
Yeah, definitely. But there's part of me that kind of loves a little, you know, saltine cracker.
A little bit of boiled chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. And also another song that I thought was pretty good was this song by Hayley Azzopardi, Tell Me That It's Over. I thought it was a very strong ballad. I'm not much of a ballad girl. It was giving me kind of bland ballad, but I thought it built really well. I just thought her vocals really needed work.
I didn't hate that one. I thought it was fine. It wouldn't be one that I wouldn't mind like seeing more of that one. There was one that I did like. I liked the Puppet song by Franklin. It was reminding me of things, nothing specific, but it was kind of like, oh, like, yeah, like I like that kind of like music style. So that one kind of hooked me a little bit. I was like, okay, this is a good one.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I'm like reading over my notes and I said, song is a bop though. If a girl sang this, I'd probably like it, but I'm sexist against men. And you know what? I feel that.
Do you know what? You're right though, but that is actually like, because I saw your notes when I was watching the clips too. So I saw that and I thought to myself, you know, that is true. And that says to me that if it would be good with another singer, then it's a good song. It's just maybe the singer's not right. So based on that, and I actually thought that he was fine. Not like fine, like attractive fine. I thought he was okay, but I do agree that it would be interesting to see that song with another singer.
Yeah. And then speaking of attractive, fine, like I'm a little I'm a little confused by your note for Johnville.
I
Uh, so I wrote personally that he's 𝗥 personified with his song Man. So I just need an explanation for what you said.
So what I had in my notes was looking for a third, because when I was watching this clip, I was just waiting for him to come up and say to me, me and my wife saw you from the other side of the bar and we were really digging your vibe.
Yes, yes. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. He's looking for the third, not
He's looking for the
You're
third.
not. Yes, I get that 100%. Yeah, that was just not giving. That was not giving to me.
No, I was putting my hand over my drink at the house watching it.
Yeah, no. Any song called Man, I don't know. No.
Oh, it is called Man too. No, that's extra
Yeah,
bad.
like
Yeah.
I was just like, it wasn't just his vibes. It was the whole song being like, I'm your man. Oh God. Oh, no, you are not. Get away from me. And then even Desiree Gretsch, Watch Me. I thought it was kind of a fun song, but I don't know. And this is the thing, it's kind of hard to judge in these situations. But similar to the puppet song, like I almost felt like the song was kind of cute. I felt like it got messy towards the end, but it was kind of cute. But she just wasn't giving what it needed to be. It was a very like attitude song, like kind of women empowerment. This ain't no 1920s sort of vibe. That was the vibe, but she was not given like, power in that performance, so it wasn't really selling it to me. Because I love that vibe, but unfortunately she didn't have the vibe.
Yeah, I wasn't as like keyed in on her as much as I was just like the music of the song, and it felt a little bit Eurodance for me, and I'm a sucker for Eurodance. So right off the bat, it was kind of another one. It's sort of like, well, she can improve. Like if the song sucks, it doesn't matter how good the singer or the performer is, because the song's still going to be bad. But if you can improve on the performance and the song is good, and I thought the song was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with that. But for me, Mara girl, Denise, she need a win for me. She's my favorite so far.
Yeah, I think that one was good. I mean, again, I think this is one of those ones where it's not like they're going to necessarily pick like 3 from each semi. It's just like 2 could come out of this, or 4 could, or 1 could, or none could.
Yeah. All I know is I don't care who goes through as long as it's Denise and she's winning the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to turn my stand card on for the season for Miss Denise. I'm ready. Oh, no, I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I'm ready. I'm ready to do the inspired look. I'm about to start promoing her.
Oh my God. You are me with 𝗬𝗄𝘅𝘆 this year. From like that audition tape, I was like, oh no, I am going hard on this one. And then it ended up being like,
well, at least people
so hated.
I was going to say at least people are liking her, but I'm not going to lie. I remember people liking 𝗬𝗄𝘅𝘆.
Some hive mind bullshit got wrapped up in all that.
Because I remember actually not being the biggest 𝗬𝗄𝘅𝘆 fan. Not that I wasn't a fan, but that I listened to all the songs. He didn't stand out to me at first. But then I remember people kept posting that audition. And I was like, I really am liking this. I was more of a blah, blah, blah girl. And so then imagine my surprise when suddenly everybody hates it. And I'm thinking, well, y'all sold it to me. Y'all the ones that sold it to me. How do we get to that point? I don't know.
I wonder what that will be for this year. The people that everyone like suddenly decide, it's so exciting to see, like, there's so many possibilities right now with like what's going to happen. Like, thank you, Malta, for at least giving us what 𝗥 used to give us.
Yeah, exactly. I know we need national selection. It's just, I think it makes sense why we all do them all at the same time.
There's no pacing it. It's so annoying.
Yeah. But it is kind of crazy to sit here and like for us planning to go to Eurovision or whatever, to national selections or to pre-parties or whatever. And I'm sitting here planning all of this stuff. Meanwhile, no clue who's going to be there. It's kind of crazy to like how deep into that. And then, I mean, it's maybe how far away is May? How many months is that? Like, is it 6 or 5?
November, December, January, February, March, April, 6, 7.
7. Okay. Oh, whoa. I got time to save some money. But it's crazy to think like, I don't know, all this planning and we don't even know anything. But speaking of that, an article came out this week from 𝗍𝗆𝘆, the title of it being Eurovision 2024, the safety of the contest under discussion, which was a little bit, alarming, I suppose. For me personally, I don't even know if I'm going to Malmö, so I'm just kind of watching from afar right now.
Yeah. So when I first saw the headline, I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, ooh, what's that about? But then I thought about it for 2 seconds and was like, I'm sure this is part of the discussion plan every single year because it has to be, because this is a major international event. I'm sure if you look back, and I haven't looked back in other years, but this must be a conversation every year. It definitely was with Ukraine.
Yeah.
They have to discuss security. So I don't think that this is something that's like, we're in danger of the show being canceled. It's just they had to talk about it. And it was actually something worth bringing up this year because there are genuine security concerns.
Yeah. So what it said in the article, this is me quoting it, said, Malmö is discussing the safety of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024 following recent increases in hate crimes and tensions in the city caused by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. I like that they don't include the name of the country in there, like, oh, just the conflict in the Middle East, just the general conflict in the Middle East. It's nobody specific. It's not somebody competing in the
conflict in the Middle East. But like, it's like, okay, like you could really say that at any time. But I guess we do know what they're referring to.
Yeah. And it said in an interview with I never know how to say this.
𝗤𝗍𝘅𝘅𝘆, I think.
𝗤𝗍𝘅𝘅𝘆 Radio. Because with Drag Race 𝗤𝗍𝘅𝘅, I was always like, girl, what? The spokesperson for the police in Malmö, Nils Norling, said, if we look at Malmö during the last month, we've seen certain increases in hate crime daily. We see manifestations mostly pro-Palestinian. So we cannot exclude that people will try and carry out various manifestations.
Manifestation means protest, by the way. They use the same word in Polish too, like manifest, but it like in English they should have translated that to protests or demonstrations.
Yeah. And then it just went on to say in the article, the police in Malmö do not see any direct threats to Eurovision, but say that the closer we get to the competition, the more intelligence work will intensify. So yeah, like you said, I feel like this is really like a non-issue at the moment. First of all, it's 7 months away. We don't know where the world will be in 7 months. We don't know where things will have gone. We don't know what decisions are being made, Obviously, like there's so many talks. I mean, we haven't even gotten the official announcement of the countries participating. So, there's a lot of rumors about why that might be. And, I guess if the countries that are maybe involved in the concerned situation, if they'll even be in Eurovision. So then, I won't lie. It's always been kind of a thought in my mind. I suppose, I don't know if this is bad to say, but I've always been surprised that in how long Eurovision has existed through all many political conflicts, that there hasn't been something like, as far as I'm aware, like there's never been anything. And that's great to know, because what that tells me is that is something that is always a concern. That is something that is always thought about. They're not just thinking about it this year because of the conflict in the Middle East. That, it's a consideration that is always, thought about. And the security is always so tight at these events. And I mean, the fact that this contest has gone on for so long, it has seen worse days. It has seen, bad wars, and it has gone on and prevailed, and nothing bad has happened. And not to say that we should, not worry. I think it's good to worry in some sense, and, keep that discussion in terms of the people who are organizing the contest. You know, of course, it is something important to think about. And definitely, I mean, I think that especially this year, because it is a country that's involved in Eurovision, that is also involved in this conflict, it is important to put special emphasis onto it. But with that being said, at the same time, like personally, I'm not worried. Like the language of them using this does give me vibes of, oh, there's protests going on, so that is concern for violent crime. Not that it's necessarily, you know, happening in that way. Like, so I'm not, even if I go, not really of my concern at the moment. I think we need to get closer to it before we even really truly evaluate.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, also, I have not had attending Malmö in my plans at all. Obviously, I want everyone to be safe at the contest, but also it's kind of, for me personally, it's like, I'm not really gonna, other than like, I would hate for it to be canceled after 2020, as like awful as that was, the contest being canceled. I'd really, really hate to see it get canceled.
Yeah.
Especially because it's in a country that's not involved with the conflict. Like
exactly.
But so I'm not super worried about like the impact on what it might have on the live show. Like, will they have like reduced capacity because they need to do crowd control? Will there be heightened security that makes it weird to move around the city and less comfortable moving around the city? Will there be weird like tension in the air that makes it feel, you know, less celebratory because people are on edge about security? Hopefully, like it, you know, for all parties concerned, that's just like you said, we're still really far out, but I do think it's a good sign that like they take it seriously. But this is, like I said, a major international event. Like, I'm sure whatever the FBI equivalent of that they have in Sweden is like keyed in and has been from the moment that they won.
Oh yeah. And I'll say, I mean, I've been to Eurovision twice, and I've been to most of the events and stuff that, like, you know, they put on in that time, in terms of the red carpets, in terms of the live shows, in terms of the Euro Village, in terms of all those little things, in terms of the Euro Club. And the security is tight at all of those. Like, none of those places am I getting in without bag checks, without having to go through metal detectors. I mean, and they're strict about it. Like, y'all know, I've told the story about me getting kicked out of the Euro Village in Italy for having a hairbrush. Like, you know, so they always have really intense security. You feel I personally feel very, very safe whenever I'm in all of those situations because of that, to the point where it's a little annoying, where I'm like, come on, y'all, let me use my hairbrush. You know, you could tell I'm wearing a wig. I need a hairbrush. You know?
I mean, I guess too, also, we're from the United States, where like our whole lifetimes have been kind of like constant imminent risk of terrorist attacks, like just like you can get gunned down in the grocery store type levels of violence here. So it's like for me, like I mean, I expect like a certain level of security. When I went to that hockey game, I couldn't even bring a bag. Their bag policy is no fucking bags.
I know. I haven't gone to a concert in the United States in a really long time, but I hear that like the security for those things are insane. Like, I don't own a clear bag, because even in Europe, I haven't noticed that being a thing for anything that I've attended. I know they like suggested to have a clear bag, but it wasn't required in Liverpool. I don't even own a clear bag, I don't think.
I bought a clear bag for Liverpool, and I had multiple security guards thank me for having a clear bag, because they would just pick it up, go like this, and they were like, thank you for having a clear bag. That makes it so much easier for me. And it's like, it makes it easier for me too, because I don't like it when they start touching your stuff.
Yeah, I need to get a clear bag, but I am a little, well, my concern is always like, okay, well, I don't have a lot of room in my luggage. So like, I usually bring one small bag and one big handbag. And I don't know, I get concerned about like, okay, well then that would be my handbag for like my whole trip. I don't want people seeing like my wallet in there and like anything I might not want people to like, you know, my passport or whatever.
Yeah.
I get a little scared. I mean, but I guess like you can always get like inserts and stuff that make it so that you can't see into it. So I just need to do that. But
What I ended up doing was I got like a passport wallet, which was so big that it didn't even necessarily look like a wallet. And it kind of took up the whole front of the bag. So it just sort of looked like a silver panel inside of it. And
Yeah.
you didn't look at it and think, I mean, maybe a pickpocket would, but
Yeah.
I didn't
See,
get
my passport
did
wallet
get
says
robbed.
passport.
I did get robbed by a seagull of my cheeseburger, but I did not get robbed despite having a clear bag with everything visible.
Yeah. I mean, that's, fuck the seagulls.
Fuck seagulls,
honestly.
man.
Yeah. Although I always say, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised I've never been robbed. It's going to happen one day, but or pickpocketed or anything. I'm surprised it's never happened to me. But you know what I always do? I always have a side strap bag, so you can't really pull it. You really gotta be one of those pickpocketers that's walking around with a knife to slash your bag.
Yeah.
Or or get in there. And I always hold my bag too, so I feel like it's a little harder.
I'm normally a fanny pack person. So if you're getting into my fanny pack without me noticing you're in my fanny pack, well then you deserve whatever you got from me, because how would I not feel someone's hand in my crotch? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. All right. Well,
well, that is a really funny spot to end on. Crotch grabbing, pickpocketing.
Oh, speaking of, did you vote? Oh wait.
Vote? For what?
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Never mind. I don't know. There was an election today, but I guess maybe it's not everywhere.
It's certain things are happening in different places. Like last year, we voted for everything. My ballot was so.
Because I was thinking everybody was voting because my boyfriend also voted today, and then I didn't know if you vote in PA or.
I vote in Maryland.
That's crazy. Well, okay. Well, I voted today. I just thought you were talking about grabbing crotches. Then I thought about our former president.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We were not voting for the president today. Just FYI.
Yeah. No, it's it's not even a midterm election. It's an off
boring
year election. We just always have the election on. Elections are always on the second Tuesday of November. That's just how it is here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so that was the news of the week. I feel
guess if you made it to the end of the video.
Yes.
Why don't you drop the vote box emoji to let us know that you made it to the end of the video? Drop the vote box emoji.
Yes, drop the vote box emoji. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, if you would like to support us, don't forget to head over to our Patreon, where you can see the full length video episode ad-free, as well as see that fun little song association game that we played over there. And also, we should be doing more little exclusive Patreon episodes over there in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, 𝗪𝗧 Rainbow, so don't miss out on any of my videos as well as any of the podcast episodes.
And follow me everywhere at 𝗫𝗏𝑃od. I'm about to start doing reactions as we get more songs.
Yay! I'm excited for that. And yeah, guys, my name is 𝗪𝗧 Rainbow.
And I'm Renata from the 𝗫𝗏𝘅.
And we will see you all next week. Goodbye.